Hello, welcome back to Love Land. You can call me LAR'RIS. This is my channel, and here I create content for lovers and sweethearts. If you identify as a lover or a sweetheart, then what I have to say is for us. Okay, so I want to tell you something. In here, I am sharing information. I'm not a counselor. I'm not a licensed counselor. I am not a licensed therapist. I am not a psychotherapist. I am not a psychologist. Now, I do want to tell you this. When I was a child, I did want to become a children's psychiatrist, but I later changed my career aspiration to something else. I've actually been advising people for a very long time. And in one of my previous career roles that I had, I actually did a lot of advising. And one of the things that I really prided myself on was giving people what I call comprehensive advice. And comprehensive advice is advice that considers everything that a person is saying, coupled with my knowledge of how a process works, considering many of the challenges or pitfalls that may come up along the way. And I give you a plan that may include multiple pathways to help you still reach your intended goal, your expected outcome, based off of what I know about the process, challenges that may come up for you, that are just a part of the process and what people go through who go through that process. But I'm also really, really, really considering you and what I know about you as an individual. So with all of those factors in mind, I create a plan for you. I share that plan with you, and you're not forced to follow it. It's presented to you as options. These are some of the things that you can consider. This is what you can think through. This is what you can try to do. If you follow this plan, it can lead you to your goal, closer to your goal, closer to your expected outcome. Some of the people that would sit with me and I would advise them and share these types of things with, like those plans and pathways or whatever, but share the advice, which would include these different pathways that would ultimately lead them to achieving their outcome. I could tell for some of them it was information overload, but for others of them, it was wonderful. They were so grateful. They were so thankful for just all the information and giving them something to think about and something to consider. And you know what else those plans gave them? It gave them hope. That's what I always did. When I was advising people, I would tell them the truth about this is what we're dealing with. But the plan, the pathways that I would create and outline for them in the plan would actually give them hope. So I give advice, my heart's desire and my thoughts really is to give advice from that place. And also, I have to tell you this too. Why was I so detailed? Why did I do it that way? Why didn't I just, give people a 1-2 and send them on their way? I'll tell you why. Because I gave people what I didn't receive. I gave people what I didn't receive. I learned from my experience by what I didn't get. And my goal at the time was, let me be for people what I didn't have. And let me help people because when I was in their shoes, I really needed somebody to help me. I really needed someone to walk me through all the steps and explain things to me so I can make an informed decision. And I didn't always get that. So when I was on the other side of the table, so to speak, and I was able to help people in that way, I did the very best I could to be a guide for them, and an accurate source of information. And you know what happened? Sometimes a year later, I would get an email out the blue from someone saying, hey, I'm just reaching out to let you know I decided to take your advice and I accomplished my goal, or I decided to take your advice and now I'm ready for the next step in the process. Can you help me? A year later, after they came and sat in my office. It would be the best feeling ever to get those types of emails, because I was like, it worked. And I knew it was going to work, but I just didn't know if they were going to follow through on any of the advice that I gave them. But that part was up to them. My job was to make sure I gave them the information they needed in a way that they could understand. And again, why did I do that? Because when I was in their shoes, I'll just say it like this, when I was in their shoes, it wasn't done that way for me. So this is important because when it comes to love and relationships, something very similar happened for me. And this is also getting into what I call my profile. Profile for me is made up of history, sociological factors, personality, temperament, other unique characteristics about a person, and more. But all these things make up a person's profile. Not just your history, not just your past. Your past is a part of your profile. Your history is a part of your profile. But looking at a person in all the different ways you can look at a person, this is this person's profile. This is a part of their profile. What's a part of my profile, and why this channel is so important to me and why this mission is so important to me, is I learned about love. The way I learned about love, one, I do think that I was uniquely designed this way, sort of predisposed. But I also learned about love because, like with the information that I was able to share with other people and give them what I didn't get, when it came to love and relationships, in many ways, I learned by what I didn't receive. It's not to say no one loved me. It's not to say I don't have people in my life or didn't have people in my life who loved me. That would be completely false. That would not be true. But I will say this. For me, I was not loved properly. And there's a difference. To love someone properly requires more sometimes than people realize. Sometimes it requires more than a person can even give a person, if they're doing the best that they can do. But we can all grow in love. We can all mature as individuals, and we can learn to love better, And so I can't say I wasn't loved, because that's not true. But did I need more love? I did. And so I learned what not to do. And I learned more about love and relationships just through my life experiences. Now, I say I was predisposed because I was curious about love. I was curious about relationships, and I followed that curiosity to learn about it. So that's what helps me. That's what tips me off to the predisposition. Because think about it. We all know people who may have had some adverse experiences growing up, and it didn't cause them to lean into the thing that affected their lives greatly. They went in the other direction, So I believe I'm predisposed to love. I believe I'm attuned to love. And I'm just curious about it. Love and relationships. And again, part of it is, I believe, my unique design by my creator. But the other part is I leaned into what I didn't have to understand it so that I could become and grow and learn and be better. You know, be better for my own life, be better for my family, be better for my world, be better for the life that I want to create with those whom I will create it with. And so I wanted you to know this about me, because as you're listening to me share about things that I'm learning or things that I've learned on my journey, or I'm sharing whatever I'm sharing, I want you to be able to understand a little bit about me so you can know the place that I'm coming from as I share. I believe people share from a place, and we don't always know what place that is. We don't always know a person's agenda, you know? We don't always know a person's motive. But I wanted to share something about me from my profile in hopes that that would help you better understand me. Not to know me, but just to better understand where I'm coming from when I share certain things on my channel. I hope this makes sense. And it's beautiful that out of what I didn't have, I learned something. And I've gained so much, you know? That's amazing. That's amazing. And I believe that that ability to do that and to not go the other way, which is I don't care about nobody, which I did that. I had that going on one time. I'm going to be independent, and I'm not. Yeah, no. This is the way. This is the way. So by this is the way, I mean this path that I'm on is the path. It is the path of independence, but interdependence. And it's the path where community is important. And we need each other. We need people. So I love myself, I love God, and I love people. And over the years, I've helped people from a place of knowing what it felt like to not get the help that I needed. I leaned into love because I knew what it felt like, and I know what it feels like to not get all that you need when it comes to love. So here I am, and here you are. Stay loving, stay sweet. I'll see you next time. Thanks.